You know, back in the Sanders home years ago when all my kids were home and smaller, we used to play basketball and we used to have dunk contests. And we were good dunkers, seriously. I mean, 360 slams around the back and in. Oh, did I mention it was Nerf basketball over the door in the kid's bedroom? I might have left that part out. But we'd have dunk, slam dunk contests. And I remember my girls, Laura and then Lindsay. They'd hear things going on. Oh, we want to go part of action. They kind of walk into the room and, here's the Boulder boys and here's Dad doing a slam. They're like, oh, we want to dunk. So you put the little Nerf ball in the hand, they're looking up like it looks like a mile up in the sky. And then, talk about faith. They start doing this. And what I would do is I'd get behind them, and then when they do a little jump, I'd throw them up in the air like that, and they'd slam it on, I'd catch them and bring them back down. And they're like, woo! They start high-fiving their brothers. I dunk! Yeah, they did it. It was great. Because they did jump, and they did put it through, but they didn't do any of that on their own power. They really did it because Dad's power was energizing their own so they could do what it is they wanted to do. And that's really kind of like what our Heavenly Father would like to do for us. Let me be your strength, God says. Let me be your energy. Tap into my power because it's unlimited. And then life can work. You don't have to be strong. I'll be strong in you and for you. So, the big question here is, how does that work? I'm sure we right now go, yeah, strength of God, and then go home. Yeah, strength of God. I do that. I don't have any idea. How that works. I guess, I don't know, you just walk around and say, oh, whoa. Power of God just hit me. How's that work? Let me suggest a couple of things that I think can help us tap into the strength of God as we move through life. The first one is this. Embrace your weakness. Just embrace your weakness. Admit it to yourself and confess it to others. I am just weak. Now, conventional wisdom says this makes you vulnerable. You do not confess weakness because that's an opening. Yeah. Don't confess your weakness because then people will, oh, that's too bad. Conventional wisdom makes you vulnerable. God's wisdom is the first step on the pathway to power. It's fascinating. Here's what a guy named Paul, an ancient follower of Jesus, missionary, did some really powerful, cool things for God. He was, a little context, this guy, worked sometimes 20-hour days. And the weight of the work of God was on his shoulders because he started so many churches and he pioneered so many new fields in helping to understand who Jesus was and the life he could bring, and the forgiveness and the reconciliation of God and discovery of purpose and all that kind of stuff. And so many people counted him for so many things that he just felt that pressure. And then there was opposition and persecution that came his way, because it always does when you really try to follow God authentically in that raw Jesus movement kind of way. And then on top of that, he had this physical problem. We don't know what it was. He called it his thorn in the flesh, but it was a severe physical problem. Finally, it's like at one point, Paul is like, okay, it's like, man, I am just so tired. I'm at the end of myself. God, you got to at least take this physical thing away, because, please, I could be so much better without it. And then here's the conversation that, like Jesus and Paul had over this. It's found in 2 Corinthians chapter 12. And Paul says, but Jesus said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in your weakness. So then Paul says this. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so Christ's power may rest on me. For when I am weak, then I'm strong. Paul just didn't admit his weakness. He said, once I got this whole doing thing in God's strength figured out, I began to rejoice in my weakness. I began to celebrate my weakness. I mean, I go around going, man, I'm weak. I'm just weak. It feels so good and so liberating to just stop trying to pretend to ourselves or pretend to others that we're all so strong. Just go, wait a minute, time out. You know what, I'll tell you the truth, I'm just weak. It feels good. Try this. Just look at your neighbor and go, I'm weak. Just try it. See what happens. I'm weak. You know, it feels kind of awkward, doesn't it?
It does.
I'm weak. You are! Because that's what we're afraid is going to happen. Oh no, I'm weak. I've admitted. Oh no, now people are going to. No, it's the. Paul said it's the first step to power. See, we're all kind of like batteries. Some of us are AAAs. We just have a little power. We have power, but it's just a little power. We'd like to have more power, but at least we have some power. Okay? We're like good in TV remotes and stuff like that. We're a little power. And then some of us, we're like C power. Poor little AAA power. I have C power. I'm bigger. I do like flashlights. I have a lot more power. But then others of us are like, no, dude, we're like D power. I mean, this is really strong. This can operate some pretty heavy-duty stuff. And there's a person that is, some of them are like, dude, I'm like 6-volt power. That's me. And really, if you look at all of us humans, that's pretty much what we're like. We're all just sort of, we're all batteries, and we all have power, but it's like the amount differs. And we tend to look at each other and go, oh, dude, he's so weak, he's AAA. You know, I'm like a D. We feel really good until we run to a 6-volt guy. Whoa, that guy's got good power. And so we compare how much power we've got, like it's really absolutely something. But you know what all these have in common? They run out of power. Even energizers. They don't go forever. Eventually they run out of energy, they run out of their power, and that's what we all have in common. Now I want you to contrast that to this. A nuclear power plant. Okay, this can run out of energy when the universe runs out of atoms. It's like unlimited, and it has such unbelievable raw power. Why would you want to limit yourself to whatever size battery you are when there's a nuclear power plant worth of energy that can be piped right into any one of us? Because, well, that's kind of like us. That's kind of like God. And the first step to tapping in is going, I'm a battery. I run out of energy. I am weak. And the moment we're willing to just admit that and confess that and embrace that and share that and even celebrate that, we've taken the first step toward making a connection with a power far greater than we could ever imagine. I think a second element in really doing things in the power of God would be this. Depend on God to help you. You see, I know this all sounds way too simple. But God's, I think, really smart. He said, let's make it simple so we can all get it. Depend on God to help you. What I'm talking about here is I'm talking about living with an active awareness that apart from God's help, apart from God's activity, apart from God's strengthening us, we will not be sufficient to meet the demands of life's responsibilities in a way that is adequate and to do it for the long haul. An active awareness. I need your help, God. I need your help, God. Without you, I can't get this done right.